You might have heard me say many times I'm a massive BMW fanboy. You might be able to see that we're actually at the BMW UK staff car park, and I've got the keys to something very, very special that I'm so excited to drive. The M1, the very first M car, and it's mine for the day. Come on! This is, oh, glorious! Oh yes, that is not a slow car. That is really not a slow car at all. Look at this. Now, BMW said we can drive it all day long, but before we go anywhere, we've got to spend ages letting it warm up. So I'm going to start it up now, let it idle, and we're going to have a look at it somewhere else. Left-hand drive, this side. Right. Squeeze myself in again. Leg over. Right, so we're in it. We're letting it warm up, but just one quick thing. Now, I'm not the tallest chap, 5'10" on a good day. The seats in these are fixed, they don't move up or down, and my head, my broccoli head, as someone commented, is literally right on the ceiling. So my slightly lankier colleague Matt, I don't reckon he'd fit, so it's meant for me. It's my car, my day. So we'll let it warm up, take it upstairs, have a look at it somewhere else, if I fit. My first challenge is getting out the BMW UK car park with no power steering in a quite valuable and very rare BMW M1. No pressure, Alex. My head is literally on the roof. Oh, that's still reverse. That's dogleg gearbox. Right, easy as that. Simply pull out your parking space. Give me a little toot. Somehow that made Deck jump. Right, I've driven the M1 up to the top of the many, many stories of the BMW car park, which was no mean feat. Got it out into the open. Let's have a quick look around it. It's got a fully fiberglass body to keep it super lightweight. I mean, it looks incredible. The wheels are like a one-off design. No other BMW had any wheels like this. Super retro, super cool. Campagnolo, Italian design, I love it. Walk around the back with me, Will, walk around the back. So all those cars, that kind of retro cars that try and put louvers on the rear window to make them cool, this is where it comes from. Like the louvers on the rear windows of the M1 are sick. When I was in it just then, driving up the top of the car park, like you look in the rear view mirror, all you can see is those things, which look mega, really, really cool. BMW made it very, very clear it was a BMW. 2 badges on the back, in case you're ever in doubt, and the M1 badge. So M1, this was the first car built by the motorsport division of BMW. They were originally going to call it a 935 when that was part of normal BMW brand, but actually, because it's part of motorsport division, they said no, let's call it something different. It was the very first car they built. So he said, you know what? It's the motorsport, it's the #1 car they built, M1, that's where it comes from. The other thing it's got, that any cool car has, pop-up headlights. But I mean, it looks incredible. It was built 40 years ago and it still looks like a spaceship. I love it. We'll check out the engine. I've got no idea how to open it up. So you have to bear with me, Will, while I pull all the levers. Oh, not that one, that door's locked. Well, there's a lever here, what does this one do? That one's broken, so that does nothing. Right, simply open the engine bay compartment by pulling some sort of lever that I genuinely have no idea where it is. No, absolutely no idea how to open this thing. Know what I'm doing, I know what I'm doing. I'm a BMW fanboy, it's fine. Any clues how to open it?
Keyhole there.
That? Oh, I thought it was fuel. Let's have a go. Fuel filler cap. Not the engine bay. Oh! Lever there. Found it. Loads of boot space, I don't know what we're moaning about. It's a BMW M88 engine, so 3.5 litre, about 270 horsepower. 6-cylinder, of course, mechanical fuel injection. This is the one that eventually went on to be used in the M635 CSI and the E28 M5. Just in those, it had a different fuel injection system and was called the S38. This is where BMW really started out making kind of highly strung, high performance 6-cylinder engines, and I'm so excited that we get to drive it because we're going to put that to the test today. Right, so inside the beast, which getting inside the beast isn't super easy. The first thing you notice when you drive it is the position of the pedals. I've never driven anything where the pedals are so far offset to the right. The clutch pedal is literally to the right of the centre of the steering wheel. When I first had my foot, I was pressing the footrest thinking that was a clutch. No clutch, footrest. So that will take some getting used to when I drive it. The next thing when you do try and put the thing in gear is the little gear selector symbol down here for the H pattern. Definitely not an H pattern, because we have got ourselves one of those fantastic motorsport derived gearboxes that's a dog leg. So when I first went to drive away, I didn't know that. I went to go over first gear, put it straight in reverse. First gear's down. First gear is simply. First gear is simply down and to the left, like that. So second is up in the middle. So then we look at the dash itself, and this is mad. It's so old school, I love it. There's all these sliders and buttons and knobs and wheels that are all labelled in German. We got Luft. I think Luft means air. I think when you go to Germany, you fly into the Lufthaven airport. Warm and kalt. I can do that bit, warm and cold. Lufter, more airport. That's what we'll go with. And then Zig Angzunder, which I think means cigarette lighter. When you turn the dash on, oh God, like it wasn't in gear, blimey. You would have got knocked out, I think. That would probably end up in reverse. You've got old school digital clocks. We've got more German words. Oben, Norm, unten, zu, Luft and zu. I honestly have no idea what they do. I might find out later on. Old school window sliders. They work well. So it is the quirkiest but coolest old school interior I've ever been in. I think it's probably going to take me most of the day to get used to it, but we're going to go enjoy it on some nice roads. So we'll take it on the motorway, take it on some B roads, and we've got a couple of lovely country roads to finish off on. Let's go and do it. Nice. Right, so on the open road in the M1, I might be shouting a bit because it's actually quite loud in here. And first things first, the driving position. It is bizarre. So like I said before, the pedals are so far offset to the right. The steering wheel, even the steering wheel is off to the right of kind of the centre of the seat. So your whole body is twisted this way. Quite a claustrophobic place to be, but it's so cool. Like, old cars, man. Old cars are so much cooler than new cars. Right, we're on a motorway. Probably not the natural habitat for this, but actually, you know what? Visibility, very, very good out the back. Quick over-the-shoulder check. Happy days. Weird backstory to this car. BMW wanted to go racing. They wanted to race in the Group 4 series at the time, but to do that, they needed a car which they could then build 400 road-going versions of to be homologated to race. Now, BMW at the time knew they didn't have the capacity to make 400 specific motorsport production cars. So they actually phoned up some Italian blokes at a little firm called Lamborghini and asked if they could help them design and build it. Design of the chassis was done by a guy called Giampaolo Dallara. Now Dallara, if you know anything about single-seater racing, Formula 1, IndyCar, Formula 2, Formula 3, you'll know the name Dallara because they build the chassis for the winning race cars and have done for decades. So the chassis in this, designed by Dallara, means it has incredible pedigree. The body is fiberglass, designed by an Italian firm who became called Ital Design, and the engine, that was done by BMW. It was supposed to be assembled in Italy, but after not very long, Lamborghini pulled out of the project. There is one car that was built by Lamborghini, and that was the very first prototype, and that actually still exists today. That's not this car. This one had its final assembly sign-off done in Germany by BMW themselves. They made 453 of these. 399 were road-going versions. The other 54 all turned into race cars. It took so long for the 400 to be made for homologation that in the end, the head of BMW Motorsport at the time decided to make his own series for these cars, and that became the BMW M1 Pro Car Championship. That ran for 2 years, 1979 and 1980, and in the end it actually supported Formula 1 races, certain European rounds at the time. And the guy from BMW said to Bernie Ecclestone, who was running Formula 1 at the time, he said, "Bernie, I'm going to make a series to support Formula 1. Formula 1's a bit boring, let's liven it up. I'm going to provide 20 BMW M1s, 5 of them will be for the best, the fastest F1 drivers." So what happened, at every Formula 1 round that these were supporting in the Pro Car Championship, the 5 fastest qualifying F1 drivers would get put in 5 BMW Pro cars. The other 15 cars on the grid were just privateers who'd enter the series. And those privateers ended up racing against Niki Lauda, James Hunt, Emerson Fittipaldi. Can you imagine you're a privateer, okay, you got a few quid, you bought a BMW M1, it's a pro car, you're racing it at Monaco and the other Grand Prix tracks, but can you imagine sharing the track with Formula 1 champions? Amazing. Niki Lauda won the first year of the Pro Car Championship, Nelson Piquet won the second year. It only ran for 2 years, but that gave us some incredible footage and memories of BMW M1 Pro cars racing around the streets of Monaco, racing at Spa, racing some of the best tracks in the world. As the BMW M1 Pro car, it was fundamentally the same chassis. The chassis was built by Dallara, racing chassis. Engine was tweaked, so they did a few bits on the engine internals, boosted up to about 470 horsepower. If you ever hear a video or watch a video of M1 Pro cars racing, listen to the noise. Incredible! So, I'm in an M1 and I'm on the motorway. Probably doesn't feel like the natural habitat for this car, but I've been on the motorway now for 10 minutes. And actually, you know what? Even though when I first got in it, the seating position felt bizarre, the steering wheel felt weird, the pedals were miles off to the right, you get used to it and your body kind of adjusts. It's quite a lot of wind noise, but every time you just breathe on the accelerator, to have that intake noise and exhaust noise from right behind your head in a BMW is amazing. So the engine's warm, we've got oil temp, we've got coolant temp. Feel like we should probably find out what it's like when we give it a bit of the old stick. Come on then. Oh, the induction noise from the engine! Oh yes, that is not a slow car. That is really not a slow car at all. The looks you get from everyone else. People who know, they know. Just had a guy drive past in just an E46 Touring, different wheels on it. Gave himself whiplash. Okay, so how's the car feel to drive? Well, steering, kind of going along a straightish B road. Steering's a bit vague around the dead ahead position, but in all fairness, this is on 55 profile Michelin Primacy tyres, so you're not going to get perfect feel around that dead ahead position. The ride is really nice, actually. Like, it's not stiff, and for an old car, doesn't feel too soft, doesn't feel too wallowy. It's obviously got such a low centre of gravity, that helps a lot. It's got a nice amount of throw. It's got a nice, easy to grasp knob. Old cars make you feel a certain way. Old cars that are special, and it doesn't get much more special than this, make you feel incredible. This is the godfather of every BMW M car that ever existed. This is the first one. This set the precedent. This is M1, Motorsport 1, the first ever car from the BMW M division. So as a BMW fan, which I am, this is incredible to be driving. I've got an E36 M3 6-cylinder engine. Okay, mine's got a bit more power, but the DNA of the way the engine revs and the sound, it's all still there. And to know this is where it came from, I love it. Oh, another spectacular road. Look at this. You know what this reminds me of? You know the intro to the Italian Job? The bit where that cool Italian bloke's driving the Lambo, the Miura, through the Alps. I feel like